this is Christopher Bruza. Welcome back. This week was purely for my own enjoyment. I took my Taran Tactical Benelli M2 to the range to test the Winchester PDX1 Defender ammunition. Before we get into it, please like, subscribe, and share. It's greatly appreciated. But I love shooting this shotgun. If you want to see more about it, I'll put some links below to other videos, but I've always been intrigued by this ammunition. I know it has no practical purpose whatsoever, but the concept of it really speaks to me. What you have is a single slug with 3 buckshot on top of it, and they're all stacked in there. And this one's obviously down below, but there's a bunch of Grecs in there. The concept is, if you can't decide between slugs or buckshot, it's the best of both worlds, in theory. So the first that comes out of the barrel are 3 copper-plated double-aught buckshot, and the theory goes that those will spread around the slug, which is trailing. And it's a rifled slug, a Foster slug. I don't know if it's a 1 ounce slug, it might be 7/8. I'll weigh it and put it up here. And then behind it you just have felt wadding. So there's no fancy wadding on this. And you're supposed to have a pellet at 2 o'clock, 10 o'clock, and 6 to 7 o'clock with the slug in the center. And I bought a bunch of this years ago, misplaced it, recently came across it, so I wanted to do some tests, and I was pleasantly surprised. Now, I found old marketing info from Winchester, and they state you get a 15-inch spread at 40 feet, which we'll talk about later after we look at the range tests. And before we cut to the range, this is supposed to be, it actually says 1 ounce rifled slug there. This is, I've heard it referred to as lower recoil. In my experience, it is not. This kicks like hell. Not that's bad or you're going to really feel it. At least with this shotgun, I mean, it kicked. Much more so than normal velocity double-aught buck. It's probably because the payload is possibly greater. Regardless, I did 2 tests with this, 3 shots each at both 10 and 20 yards. This ammo's fairly scarce, so I didn't want to just go crazy. We will do ballistic gel tests on this coming up when I do my ballistic gel videos on the 12 gauge shotgun. So let's go to the range and see what happens at 10 yards. Okay, so the target for 10 yards, we've got first shot is orange, second shot green, third shot blue. And I was aiming at the blue. This shotgun has rifle sights, which I really like. See my other videos linked below. So I hit slightly low right with the slug, which is fine. One pellet was very, very, very close. I would say just like 5/8 of an inch of paper between there. Then you've got another pellet down here and a pellet over. So that spread measured 5 3/4 inches, and the slug was slightly high, still within the triangle, which is good. And second shot, now I wasn't, I didn't put this on a tripod or anything like that. I wasn't shooting off bags, I was just shooting offhand. So second shot slightly high for the slug. I'm assuming the slug is going to be the most accurate part of this ammunition, but so slightly high. And then you've got, I don't know, 2 inches or so of paper between the bottom buckshot, and then over here to the right, you've got another buckshot, and up top. If you draw a line between those, it intersects the hole from the slug, but the slug is slightly outside of that. And I was expecting the slug not necessarily to be centered, but to be within the triangle of the 3 buckshot. It's very close, but it's not. So 6 3/8 inches farthest spread. And the third shot, I'm slightly left. Pretty happy with that accuracy there between the slugs, but slightly left. So we've got 1, 2, and 3. Now these form an almost perfect triangle with the slug in the middle, which is more of what I was expecting. But again, you've got 6 3/8 inches between the largest spread. Sometimes there are varying ideas as to what distance you're shooting in home defense. Not that I condone this ammunition for home defense, but so 10 yards is probably very good, but I wanted to test it a bit further. A lot of the buckshot tests I do are at 20 yards, so I wanted to back up to 20 yards, and well, let's see what happens. Man, that can't. Okay, so the target for 20 yards, it's obviously larger. And again, you've got orange, green, and blue for first, second, third shots. And these were a bit more consistent with the pattern you're seeing with where the pellets ended up in relation to like a clock. On the 10-yard target, some were inversed, I guess. So first shot, orange, pretty good, close to that. You got one up here, one here, and one here. 15.5 inches maximum spread. Okay, so second shot, we're off the blue a bit, but it's 20 yards offhand. One almost directly above it, over here, still on the paper, but close to off it, and one down here. 15 3/4 inch maximum spread. And blue. The slug hit here, which that makes me wonder, because you've got your triangle of buckshot hitting here, you draw a line. This is clearly outside of there. I did not register it as a bad shot. You know, when I took it, it didn't feel like the break on the shotgun was bad. And as I mentioned previously, I would expect the slug portion to be where you were aiming. I don't know if there's a bit of a deviation here. Generally, I can call a flyer, or I know when I get a bad shot off. Like a lot of times, especially long range, I don't even need to know or listen for the RO to call a hit or lack of a hit. I know I already missed. You know, when I break that trigger. And I did not register that when I took this shot. Sample size of 1, who knows? It doesn't really matter. Close enough for self-defense, not that you're probably going to be shooting at 20 yards. So a big spread, but if you'll remember, Winchester said at 40 feet you should be getting 15 inches of spread. I'm getting an average of 15.5 inches at 20 yards, which is 60 feet. That's, I mean, 50% further than 40 feet, which made me pause a bit to think. To my surprise, Winchester still sells this ammunition, or they still list it on their website, and they don't have that 15 inches at 40 yards. Now, I don't know if you can actually find this ammunition in stores. You can't find any ammunition in stores, but they still list it on their website. And the old data I found was through Google Archives and Wayback Machine, stuff like that. They don't list that anymore. I don't know if it's because they determined it was inaccurate. And speaking of inaccurate, we had 2 shots of each set of 3, or I guess 1 in each set of 3, a total of 2 shots where the slug was not centered or close to centered on the pattern. When I took this ammunition apart, just for the video and kind of my own curiosity, the slug itself, I don't know if you can see that, I'll put a picture up here. It's deformed right here. And I mean, this was new out of the box. It isn't like I've shoved it in and out of shotguns over and over and over, just loading, unloading. It was new out of the box ammunition. So I don't think I did that, nor were there any real marks in here, or did I do that cutting? I actually kind of cut, if anything, I don't think I cut into anything, but if I did, it was the wad right here. I estimated where it should be, and that's not from me. So I don't know if that's kind of the variance we're seeing. Regardless, it's sufficient. And the spread being less than they advertised, I went through and plotted it out. This isn't going to make sense to you guys, so I'm not going to put it up here as a bunch of chicken scratch, but there's one very, very interesting thing. So I took the angle at 15 inches at 40 feet and plotted that, and then took what I got at 10 yards, which is 30 feet, which is an average spread between 3 shots of 6.166 inches. And then use the other point of 20 yards, 60 feet, which was an average of 15.5 inches. Calculated that angle, and it was the same exact angle as 15 inches at 40 feet if it started spreading directly at the muzzle. What I was seeing, I guess the vortex, or the point where the pattern started to spread out, was 10.18 feet. It was, a little over 3 yards from the muzzle, which is about what you'd expect to see with shotgun ammunition. It's not going to spread as soon as it comes out of the muzzle. It's got to get some wind resistance and, more accurately, some drag to start dispersing that load. So if you took that cone that I measured and offset it by 10 feet, it matched exactly. I tried to actually get an error between it, and it was, if you round to the 10th, there was no error, which blew my mind. So I don't think it's necessarily a fluke. Winchester came up with that 15 inches at 40 yards, but I think there's an offset there, and it most likely deals a lot with a shotgun. There should be an offset, but not. It's going to vary. So I found that interesting. Now, nobody should be using this ammunition for home defense. You've got buckshot flying, which are liabilities, and you've got a slug, which is, if you watch T and Outdoors 9, he tests this in gel, and he tests a lot of stuff in gel. Great channel. I wish he was still making videos. Shotgun slugs tend to over-penetrate immensely. If I use slugs, it's going to be segmenting slugs, but again, a different day. And this will likely over-penetrate, and then you've just got 3 more buckshot pellets attached to a lawyer flying everywhere. So I don't condone it. I think it's a really cool concept, and they've implemented it very well. I was impressed with how well it actually worked. You're seeing this stuff now in kind of turkey loads. I don't remember the trade names of them, but you'll see different sizes of shot in turkey loads. You'll see tungsten combined with other shot. So you can cover a variance of range, which is awesome. Generally, if you wound, not that you should wound game, but if you wound game, you aren't going to get sued. You aren't going to be prosecuted for that. Maybe, I don't know. Again, different topic, but I love the concept of this, and they've done a great job implementing it. Buy it, have fun at the range. I wouldn't suggest putting it in your shotgun when it's stored in your bedroom safe or something along those lines. I found it interesting. I hope you do. And next week we'll be going out to the range with the 6mm Creedmoor project and testing that out. So hopefully you're sick of shotguns by now. We'll go back to rifles for a little bit. And until next time, enjoy.